Hello and welcome to Passage Theater's online PlayLab preview. My name is Victoria David-John and I am the dramaturg for Passage's upcoming production of the OK Trenton project.
And my name is Ryan Dominguez and I'm the artistic director of Passage and the director of the OK Trenton project.
We are excited to have you join us today so that we can share our new play process with you.
This session is the first of two PlayLab previews this season. The first one will focus on the OK Trenton project, and our second one will focus on the new musical we are developing entitled Group. But before we get started, here's a crash course in what Passage's PlayLab is. PlayLab is the program that Passage Theater uses to develop new shows in preparation to be performed on our main stage. Shows are developed in one of two ways. Devised work is what happens when a group of artists come together in one room with an idea for a piece. Devised work does not start with a script. In this work, we create the script together through the trial and error of different techniques. These techniques can involve dance, improvisation, sound composition, visual design, or a number of other techniques that the artists have trained in throughout their careers. The goal is for the artists to create and brainstorm on the given theme using these different techniques, leading to one clear and concise narrative that can be shared with an audience. Oftentimes, when a playwright writes a play, their first draft may not be as complete or polished as they would like. These writers can submit these plays to Passage to be considered for additional development through our PlayLab program. Once a script is received, the Passage staff gauges whether or not the play would benefit from the time and resources we have to offer and evaluates whether or not the play is the right fit for our mission and our audience. Once that has been established, we reach out to the writer and ask what aspects of the piece they think could use some work. Based on this conversation, workshops with professional actors, directors, and dramaturgs are scheduled to discuss the play's challenges and provide options as to how the playwright may want to revise the text. The playwright can then hear multiple scenarios and see their work come to life in multiple ways before it reaches a live audience. The goal of Passage's PlayLab is to provide a safe space for artists to share, experiment, and sometimes even fail. We know that the creation of new work is a brave endeavor and that not every idea is going to be a great one. We strive to help our artists try new things without the worry of a bad review or a failed production. By investing in these workshops, we are investing in the potential of our local artists and the belief that some of the best theatrical works of our generation have yet to be created. It should be noted that due to our small staff size and our inability to review all submissions, we are unable to accept unsolicited scripts at this time. However, we are currently in the process of building a new submission process for PlayLab that will include a full committee review and be open to all artists. The application will be available in the coming year, so please stay tuned.
Now that you know all about Passage's new play program, let's zero in on one of the shows they are developing this season, the OK Trenton project. The OK Trenton project was inspired by an event that happened in Trenton in August of 2017. That summer, 17 local students had engaged in a summer camp that was run by the nonprofit group Homefront in collaboration with Isles Incorporated and Grounds for Sculpture. Through this camp, the students had learned about a variety of skills, including gardening and nutrition, and had worked with Grounds for Sculpture artist Eric Schultz to create their own piece of public art made out of pots and pans. The 5-foot-tall sculpture, entitled Healing Hands, was installed on a vacant city-owned lot at the corner of Perry and Montgomery Streets in Trenton, New Jersey. When an anonymous police officer called a local newspaper with worries that the sculpture resembled a gang sign and should be removed, concerns spread throughout the community that the sculpture could send the wrong message to residents. The piece was removed and placed back in the artist's studio. What followed were a number of community discussions surrounding topics, including youth education in Trenton, perceptions of the media, Trenton's history with gang violence, free speech, and whether or not Trenton needed a formal public art policy, among others.
When I heard about these discussions in our community, I was curious how this piece of art had helped to awaken such important debate and conversation. So I asked some of Trenton's local artists and community members to see if they would help me dig deeper. I feel really lucky that they agreed.
Hi, My name is David Lee White. I'm a writer on the OK Trenton Project, and I was particularly excited when Ryan asked me to take part in this because I had worked in Trenton with Passage Theater for 14 seasons, but it had been a few years, and so I was really excited to come back to Trenton and work on a project that was so Trenton-based. I'd done a number of projects interviewing Trenton residents in the past, and so I felt like this was a really good way to continue the work, but from a fresh set of eyes. Ryan had only been in Trenton for a short period of time, and this was a whole new group of artists that I was going to meet and work with, and so it was a great way to kind of revisit a lot of things about Trenton that I loved, but with a new company and with new collaborators and a new set of circumstances.
And I really wanted to get involved because of the kids, man. Like talking about what art means to the kids, and when the kids come together to collaborate on a piece of art, how does the world view that? You know, they could view it as something beautiful or something as a weapon. You know, you had these kids that make this sculpture that's an OK Trenton sign. Like, why is that so threatening all of a sudden? Because these little black hands made it. You know, these all these little kids came together to create this project, and because it was put in this neighborhood in the area that it was in, now all of a sudden it's deemed dangerous because it's not in this great museum or this Coliseum or whatever, you know, because it was at the corner of Perry Street. Now all of a sudden it's dangerous, and it's not just okay, like as the symbol was saying, the helping hand symbol was saying, it's just okay. Be able to explore that and talk about who was allowed to express themselves and how we take and give power to you know, to certain people, was very interesting to me. And plus it was just about dealing with the community, so that was very interesting to me, to actually deal with the community out there in Trenton.
In the following months, Bruce, Ryan, and 5 volunteers from the local arts community began to meet monthly to discuss how they could make the play development happen. Over the course of the next 6 months, they also conducted several interviews with the people that were involved with the Healing Hands sculpture. They interviewed Eric Schultz, the artist who worked with the students. They interviewed people from Isles and Grounds for Sculpture. They interviewed anyone they could find who would help them piece together what exactly had happened in August of 2017.
I'm jumping at the bit. I want to talk to these people. I want to walk up on the stoop and like bust it up with cats. Like, hey, yo, how do you feel about them taking this sculpture away, or like, how do you feel about your interactions with the police around here? You know what I mean? Because I wish somebody would have did that for me when I was on these corners in my own hood. You know, like, come up and ask me how I feel. We first went out to go up to Perry Street and stuff like that. What I first realized was like, yo, the disconnect and the distrust that, you know, that community has for, like, you know, people that's outside of it. And Passage Theater is probably like 3 or 4 blocks down from Perry Street, and we were walking up there in our little Passage Theater t-shirts, like, hey, you know, we're just doing this bit of art. You know, they're like, yo, we got bills to pay. We just trying to chill on the stoop, you know, on a Saturday morning. This other lady, she just walked off like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I'm a sinner. I don't want to hear it. So obviously they thought I was like a Jehovah's Witness, even though on my t-shirts it could clearly said Passage Theater. But they probably thought I was an undercover Jehovah's Witness, came to sell them on the Lord or something. And she was like, I'm a sinner. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm a sinner too. I think this project is going to help build that connection to that community, to talk like, yo, we're here, and we're kind of hearing what you're saying about what's going on out there. And it's like, yo, what's that important to you? And, you know, let's talk about how the power of art, you know, can help change communities. It's like, who deserves to have beauty in their neighborhood? And why are we so accepting of allowing other people to dictate what should be beautiful in our neighborhoods or, you know, in our hoods and our communities.
The interview process has been interesting. We talk about art opening doors and creating space, and that was a true way that it did during those organic interviews. But by sitting down and allowing space and holding space for people to talk about not just the OK Trenton project, but Trenton and art and public art and community in general, we not only were able to explore the other facets of the OK Trenton project that we never would have thought related, but we also were able to think about what a person is saying behind their story and what's being trapped behind, oh, I don't have anything to add. We get a chance to learn about real people in a way that everyday life doesn't allow us to. I was seeing Trenton through the lens of the high school teacher, of the community activist, of the longtime Trenton resident. I was seeing the world through their eyes, which otherwise I would have never experienced.
I was nervous. I was really nervous. I'm like, well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what, honestly, I'm a nosy individual. I like to I like to hear what people have to say. So when you ask the right questions, the floodgates open, and then you're just sitting there writing your notes and like, And also just knowing that these interviews is what is helping sculpt our script.
Brian had the idea that if they collected enough interviews, they could make the play into a documentary theater piece using a technique called moment work. The moment work technique was developed by a popular New York theater company, Tectonic Theater, and used to create shows such as The Laramie Project, Gross Indecency, The Three Trials of Oscar Wilde, and 33 Variations.
I love the moment work. The moment work is unlike anything else I've ever done, but particularly working with the ensemble that we had, I feel like we really took to it very well. We figured out kind of a common language. The thing that I like best about the moment work is that it does not segregate the different artistic disciplines. You don't have the writer in one room creating the play and the designers in another room creating their design, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, you have everything kind of happening all at the same time. It's such an invigorating, exciting artistic process to be engaged in.
Moment work, I feel like I get to be all of the things, and I get to participate in all three, well, more than three areas of creation because it's not defined. It's really open, and you get to participate and be involved in the entire process.
Playing with elements and how powerful levels can be, and like simple, basic movement. Like sometimes the most simple movement can be the most powerful movement, and just a certain sounds can just like stay and just like just linger in your ear.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was even more fun when we got to put sound and lights to text, and then we would grab a hat or a shirt to represent someone. That was a lot of fun. Just putting layer on top of layer on top of layer. It was nice.
Tectonic Theater defines moment work as a way of exploring the theatrical potential of all the elements of the stage in order to create strong theatrical and dramatic narratives. It helps us to explore all elements of the stage, such as props, sound, architecture, lights, and costumes. We then use these elements to tell the story before adding any text. This technique ensures that we are showing the story as much as we are verbally telling it, and enables the artists to better identify potential dramatic tension within the piece.
This technique was particularly suited to the OK Trenton project because it helped the artists to focus more on the visual aspects of storytelling. Since OK Trenton is about a visual piece of art in a specific community, the technique fits the story well. Additionally, past examples of such work had incorporated event-based narratives and documentary theater practices, just as we were planning to do.
So the process began moving along. Interviews were going well, and the team had identified a technique that would help the project grow.
In order to help support the project financially, Passage applied for a MAP Fund grant. The MAP Fund is a national organization that supports original live performance projects that embody the spirit of deep inquiry, particularly works created by artists who question, disrupt, complicate, and challenge inherited notions of social and cultural hierarchy across the United States. The OK Trenton Project was one of only 42 projects across the country selected to receive MAP funding in 2019.
Following the news of the MAP Fund grant, Ryan put together a team of 13 people that she knew came from various backgrounds and had a variety of skills linked to devising theater. Along with Ryan and I, these people include David Lee White, Richard Bradford, Daryl Lewis, Carlos Castillo, Wendy Smith, Kevin Bergen, Jane Cox, Robin Shane, Yoshi Tanokura, Kara Johnson, Alexander Costas, Jonathan Connor, and of course, Bruce Lindsay. Ariel Brown, Kenya Bullock, Felicia Light, and Sol Madrigal were also involved in early workshops of the piece. In 2019 and 2020, 2 4- to 5-day workshops were carried out, one of which was led by Tectonic Theater Company member Barb Pitts McAdams. During these workshops, the ensemble pieced together pieces of interviews using improvisations to create these moments and discussed what topics and specific details need to be included in the play. A Google Drive was created to help organize all of the interviews, transcriptions, script pieces, videos, and images that were gathered.
It's just, we're bringing out the best in each other in these workshops, and that was amazing to watch the creativity, and it gets everybody juices going when you have a whole bunch of people who are trying to create something and serve something bigger than ourselves and something bigger than our own egos. So that was amazing to see some of the work coming out of everybody, just pouring out of each other, to be with other brilliant actors and directors and kind of vibe off of them, because it pushes you to grow, and it challenges you to do stuff and be fearless on the stage and just be okay, this is what's in my body. I gotta put it out there. I gotta get it out of me.
Local universities began to show interest in the piece, and Passage is working with these institutions to engage their students in this work, as an example of how theater can involve work within a community.
I'm so excited for our program to be in conversation with Passage Theater around their work in general, and in the conversation around the OK Trenton Project in particular. This kind of conversation is really central to the education that we're offering our students, who are really excited to think about how theater and art making can intersect with things like public policy, journalism, social justice. We love how the work of Passage Theater can help our students see in real time and space how a theater company can participate in a local community's identity and its challenges, and hopefully support community building. We really hope that our program's participation will allow our students and our faculty to think about the role of art in community and how that can intersect with public policy in a very practical and creative way. On a more personal note, I'm super excited to be the lighting designer for the OK Trenton Project, and I can't wait for myself and for all of us to be involved.
Not only are we thrilled that this is happening for Trenton, but we're also happy to have our own personal connection with 2 of our faculty working as designers, one of our alums performing with the company, another assisting, and we're just hoping that this leads to many more collaborations and connections that Passage can help us make between Rider and the Trenton community.
I am so super excited about working on this project because I've been working at Passage for the last 10 years as a freelance designer, and so it feels kind of like coming home. I am also really excited about the opportunities there will be for Rider students to become involved in this project, as Yoshi Tanokura, my colleague at Rider, is also doing the set. We are hoping that we can get lots of our students involved as assistants, as on crew, and to just be involved with this extremely important project that's happening only 10 minutes down the road.
I am very excited to be involved in this project, OK Trenton. I have lived in Mill Hill section of Trenton for a little over a decade, and I have seen the city's ups and downs. One thing that has been consistent about this city with bad reputations is that there is a resilient art community that keeps the hopes for the city alive. The Passage Theater has been in the center of such art community for many years, even before I moved here. OK Trenton is a story of Trentonians. I am very excited about telling the story about us and artists who keep trying to improve Trentonians' lives with their exceptional determination and talents.
In order to prepare for our next workshop, which will take place in February, we are in the process of collecting additional interviews and information.
One of the biggest challenges in writing this piece is that our world is changing every day. Current events such as COVID-19 and the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor are constantly changing and challenging the way our society views the world of public art. So we have a lot to think about and engage with.
If you or someone you know might be interested in being interviewed for the OK Trenton project, please contact us at info@passagetheater.org.
We hope to see you at the live stage reading of the piece, taking place on June 19th, 2021.
This stage reading will be followed by a talkback with the artists and will help us to prepare for the show's full production at the Mill Hill Playhouse in October of 2021.
While the MAP Fund grant did help us enormously, we're still looking for additional funding to help with the piece. If you or someone you know may be interested in helping to fund the project in its final stages, please contact our managing director, Damian Peran, at the email provided below.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you in June.